Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was sitting here actually considering about waving off. I know we're all weary. We're weary from being here all week. People are probably weary of hearing us talk about this. You know, Mr. Speaker, currently we spend $6.8 billion on transportation. We're asking for a $2.3 billion increase. And while I'm weary, I have constituents back home who are weary, not just from sitting in meetings and sitting at their desk, waiting to push a button. They are weary from working 2 jobs to try and make ends meet, to put food on the table, to feed their children, to pay their bills. So even though I am weary, I have constituents who work out in the trenches a lot harder than I do, and they're going to be working harder and trying to figure out where they're going to come up with the dollars to put that money in their gas tank. Some of those constituents of mine are women, single women, working moms. And it's going to actually hurt women, Mr. Speaker, more than men, because in Pennsylvania, women only earn 77 cents for every dollar that the average working man makes. And some of those women are in my district working those 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet. Not to buy their bottle of beer, like the Senate press conference talked about when they had their press conference on transportation and how this would be so wonderful for the state of Pennsylvania, but working to put milk on the table or bread for their children, or buying that medicine when their child has a cold, or taking them to the dentist or the doctor, if they can get health care these days. Mr. Speaker, the people of Pennsylvania need to know that there are members in this body who put up legislation as an alternative to this bill to raise money to prioritize the repair of bridges in this state. Legislation that was basically ignored. I have constituents in the timber industry and in other industries who are being hurt through this whole process because of the weight restriction on bridges. I co-sponsored a legislator's bill for prioritizing the repair of bridges. I had a visit in my office from people whose job it is through PennDOT and Department of Transportation. They said, Representative Rapp, we don't need this legislation. We already have a method that we prioritize bridges. And I said, really? I said, so all these bridges that the secretary just restricted, are they on your priority list? Mr. Speaker, they couldn't answer me as to whether or not those bridges that suddenly became restricted were on a priority list. This bill is going to hurt the taxpayers of Pennsylvania. It's going to cause more of an expense for people transporting goods. Every single item on the shelf where these struggling women are already having to work the 2 jobs to pay for those items, to put gas in their car, every single item on the shelf has a potential to go up because of the increase in transporting these goods. I am dismayed at this legislation. I wish there was an alternative. I've supported alternative methods to raise funds for the repair of bridges. I am extremely dismayed that the people who own vehicles in this state, if I let my insurance lapse, I pay that $500. Doesn't go into roads and bridges, it goes to mass transit. Mr. Speaker, I'm a no vote, and I encourage a no vote on this legislation. Thank you.